First and foremost, I like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rokah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and a sincere salutation to you, Akim, and you, Aqua, to believe in all sincerity. So as you see here on your screen at the bottom, White House proposes major cuts to Section 8 housing vouchers. And it states, Trump's proposed 2026 budget would cut 26.7 billion, about 43%, from federal housing programs like Section 8. The plan would replace them with a state rental assistance block grant, shifting responsibility to states. Experts warn the cuts could impact 3.8 million people, deepening the housing crisis, increase homelessness, and strain local economies. So, as it states here, they want to cut $26.7 billion from federal housing programs like Section 8 and replace it with a state rental assistance block grant. Okay, rental assistance. So, and there's been talks that they want people who are receiving food stamps to basically get a job to hold down 40 hours a week. So these devils ain't playing around. They're putting the squeeze on Jake. See, and Jake, is suffering of the curses. Jake is homeless. Jake is on drugs. Jake is in and out of jail. This is going to definitely affect so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, you Israelites. It says here, shifting responsibility to states. Experts warn the cuts could impact 3.8 million people. Yeah, it's going to impact a lot of people. Okay. Deepening the housing crisis, because right now, since COVID, people weren't able to work. So people weren't able to pay their rent. You see, a lot of people's bills was piling up, especially utility bills, and when COVID, basically went away, people were stuck with bills. It says increased homelessness because the cost of living is ridiculous. Okay, there's been reported that no minimum wage job in none of the 50 states can hold down a 2-bedroom apartment. Okay, it says and strain local economies. Yeah, because this is gonna cause a lot of ripple effect. All right. They're going to put it on the state, to see who qualifies for this rental assistance block grant. And they're going to only want to, give it out to certain individuals. Not everyone's going to be qualified. I want to get a couple scriptures that I wanted this to be edifying. Let's see. We'll start here. This is Sirach 29 and 8. Yet have thou patience with a man in poor estate, and delay not to shew him mercy. Right, and Jake is in a poor estate. But these devils don't want to have patience with a poor man. It says, and delay not to shew him mercy. Help the poor for the commandment's sake, and turn him not away because of his poverty. Okay? So you're supposed to help the poor. That's a commandment. It's in the law. It says, and turn him not away because of his poverty. Right, yeah. And that's essentially what they're doing. They're turning Jake away because they want Jake to, quote unquote, get it together. But see, they're the ones who have this economy, all jacked up. They're the ones that are putting rent and mortgages through the roof. Let's see. This is 1 Timothy 6:17. Charge them that are rich in this world that they be not high-minded nor trusted in certain riches, but in the living power who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. Yeah. In the AMP, as for the rich in this present world, instruct them not to be conceited and arrogant, nor to set their hope on the uncertainty of riches, because they believe they're going to cut costs. That's what they believe. And earlier this year, they were speaking about cutting cost on school lunches, kindergartners. What did that state senator say for, the kindergartners to, and middle school students, children to get a summer job, you know, so-called Trump's coming to, save his people money. It says, as for the rich in this present world, instruct them not to be conceited and arrogant, nor to set their hope on the uncertainty of riches, but on the Most High, who richly and ceaselessly provides us with everything for our enjoyment, right? And, they should think how Bashim Shai, but they don't, because they're the ungodly. And the Most High is in none of their thoughts. But see, we're different than them, Even in our poor estate, we think Yahweh Bashim Shai, but these devils they take till they can't take anymore. This is 1 John 3:17. But whoso hath this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of the Most High in him? And they have this world's good. Let's look at this word good.
Strong's G 979, bios. Bios.
That by which life is sustained, resources, wealth, goods. Down here in the Strong's definition, by implication, the means of livelihood, good life living. Yeah, they're living it up. They got resources, they got wealth, they got goods. And here it is, they cutting the budget. They cutting the water off on you, Jakes. Because they could give a damn, see? And there's a difference between, Israel and Esau. This is, let's get this in Genesis. And this is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, but I wanted to bring this point out in the second verse. And he said, behold, my Lord, speaking of the two angels, this is Lot and the two angels, I pray you into your servant's house and tarry all night. You see? Spend the night and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and he entered into his house, and he made them a feast. You see, so he pressed upon them. Okay, Lot wasn't having it. But these devils, they'll kick you out. They mean landlords.
Strong's H 6484, patser.
In the Strongs, it says what? Press, urge, stubbornness. So, Lot wouldn't take no for an answer. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into his house, and he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. You see? That's the point I wanted to make. Let's get this. This is Isaiah, Isaiah 58. Speaking about, fasting. We go into this chapter, the Day of Atonement, because, fasting is good for, breaking the bonds of wickedness and afflicting your soul and getting close to Yahweh Bashem Yahshai. But the 7th verse says, I'll start at 6. Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke? is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house? So there's a difference between, you know, Israel and Esau. When thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh. These devils will cast out their own people. You know, they'll cut the water, they'll cut the budget off their own people. They don't give a damn. It's all about the elite, just like it's all about the elect. Okay? But bring the poor that are cast out to thy house, and when thou seest the naked, thou cover him. Okay? That's the spirit that Yahweh Shemashai wants his people in. That's how it was in the ancient world. Of course, you're not going to let this nobody into your house today. We're not saying that, but what I'm saying is that, you know, there's a difference between Israel and Esau. Big difference. You know? They ain't telling middle schoolers to get a summer job. They can pay for their lunch. You know, here it is. You know, they want to cut the budget for federal housing programs like Section 8. You know, this is because this devil's about to make a move. Okay? This devil's, you know, tightening his grip. That's what this means. Let's see. This is Sirach 29. Back in Sirach 29. And we'll start at 27. This is about lodging individuals in your house, you know, showing hospitality. But the point is in 28. It says, give place, thou stranger, to an honorable man. My brother cometh to be lodged, and I have need of mine house. Right. So if if you're a roommate, you know, the owner of the house, you know, he'll eventually tell you if he needs the room. You know, hey, his brother's coming. I need you to give up the room. This is my house. 28 verse. These things are grievous to a man of understanding, the upbraiding of house room and reproaching of the lender. You see, these things are grievous to a man of understanding. Okay, the upbraiding of house room. Now, when you get this in the Sirach 29 of the NRSV version, it says here, 28, it is hard for a sensible person to bear scolding about lodging and the insults of the moneylender. All right, lodging. A place in which someone lives or stays temporarily. Because, you know, truth be told, if you're in Section 8, you know, that's temporary living. You're not owning that house. In Section 8, if I'm not mistaken, individuals pay what they can. They make up a program, you know, by their budget, and they have to pay, you know, more or less what they can. See, but it's grievous to hear about lodging, you know. Even to move is grievous, right? You ever had to move your stuff, but to hear about, you know, lodging from and they're as it says here, and the insults of the moneylender, right? Because it says here, Section 8 housing vouchers, right? They give you, you know, a list of houses, you know, and you know, a budget. You know, you go find a house within your budget. You know, if I'm not mistaken, my mother was on Section 8. We were on Section 8 for, you know, like 2 years, or, you know. So it's temporary. Yeah. Back in NRSV, it is hard for a sensible person to bear scolding about lodging and the insults of the money lender. Right. And Esau got the money. Okay. For these Section 8 vouchers. So, yeah, very grievous for Jake, man. I wanted to report on this. Lord, when you was edified, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rokak Wadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and a sincere salutation to you, Akim, and you, Aqua, that believe in all sincerity. Shalom.